The Big Small Business Show is proudly brought to you by Saika. Choose a difference maker, choose a chartered accountant.
Welcome back to the Big Small Business Show. In studio with us, we've got Madonna Seroto. She's the CEO of Maverick Coffees, and she has 9 stores. So we just heard a great story, and I think she's battling with the same problem as many entrepreneurs, is how to scale, controls, people, all the same things you and I suffer with still today. So your problem is not your problem, it's our problem. So let me perhaps talk about a couple of things that I think are positive. Let me start off with the positive stuff. When I asked you about, I was your magic fairy godfather, I was going to say mother, but fairy godfather, you gave me the right answer, is organic growth. Okay, but organic growth is great to a point, and then you might want to go to more exponential growth later. But right now, I think it's a very mature decision to have organic growth, because I see so many entrepreneurs try and have this exponential growth at this age of the business, the stage of the business, and they just blow out. Okay, so big ups to you here. Your marketing, you spoke about your marketing. I think it's brilliant. I love the fact that you're marketing focused. You spoke about the story, about the Maverick story. I just absolutely love that. So I can see at heart you're a great marketer. And I think the thing I was most impressed about was the fact that you had the courage to close down 1 store. Okay, I have had that kind of decision to make, and it's very much an ego decision to keep it open. It's bleeding money. It's never going to make money. Do I keep it open so that I don't signal that I'm failing, or do I close it down? And you made, in my opinion, the mature and the right decision.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to start off with an idea around the retention of your young staff. And I want you to start off where I spoke about is that in a hypothetical situation, they're all going to leave, that there's no solution. Unfortunately, it's not a hypothetical situation, it's the reality. So I ask you, what's going to go missing when they leave? Now, of course, as you grow, there'll be opportunity for management positions and other things. But, if you think about, not everyone's going to get that opportunity, only some. So they're going to work that out, and they're going to come and go, and they're going to leave. So I want you to think about a concept of the level of experience. So let's say, for example, you put in 3 months of training, as my example. So let's call that 3 units, right? And let's say a store's got 5 people. So there are 15 units of experience in that store, right?
Yeah.
So when the store is at 15, if you lose 1 person, you're going to go down to 12, right? But if there's 12 units of experience in that store, then there's enough people who know what's going on, the store can operate. And maybe at 9, it can still operate. I don't know. This is just a model for you to think about. So think about it in units of experience. And then if you put in a metric into each of your stores to say how many units of experience are there based on, it's 5 units per person, 3 or 2, whatever you decide, and you monitor that, you can see which stores are most vulnerable. Then you've got to be thinking about that through data to say the average store loses 2 people a month. I'm just making it up. So I'm losing 6 units of experience a month. 6 units of experience a month is effectively 2 people being trained for 3 months. What is the cost of training a person? Have I costed that back into the cost of running the store? So if you're thinking about the fact that in order to keep the minimum requirement of experience in that store, there is a constant cost to this, you will do the right thing and you'll cost for training. And most businesses in the space don't cost for that because they think, there's just a setup cost and then everything's great. But we all know that everyone in that store is going to leave at some point, okay? Yeah. And so you're going to have to cost for that as part of your working model. And so your price of your coffee might have to go up by 49 cents or by 99 cents in order to pay for that training. But that's the way you've got to be thinking about it. So it goes into expenses. Then the thing is to get into a rhythm around your your management and your controls. If you think about it into the future, Madonna's not going to be able to do 99 stores.
No.
It's impossible. Neither can all your individuals. You can't be at every store opening into the future.
That's true.
So you've got to be thinking about what's the rhythm, what's the right rhythm, and what's what they call the cadence of visits. So at least every store is visited once per month by somebody, twice or 3 or 4 times. So let's say it's 4 times. So you might only be on a once a month cycle with certain operations, maybe the smaller ones, and maybe once a week with the bigger ones, or you might categorize the new ones that you do more often because you want to support those, and then it goes into a phase 2 and you drop your cadence, you drop your rhythm, how often you're going to those stores. But you've got to be thinking about that right now. Then in terms of your growth, and I spoke about your organic growth. I've written here triggers for growth. So when is the right time to go and look for more money, for investment, for funding? Now, the cheapest form of funding is going to be basically loan funding. So you need to tell the story, and that's why you're storytelling. You have to tell the story about the average store takes, it's called 1 year to break even. Here's the story of nine stories. Here's the proof. Here, let me show you that when it didn't work, I had the courage to shut that down, so I'm mature. And you have to start documenting that story to take to the bank, not just in a financial way, but in a storytelling way as well. Because you need to be saying, I need you to fund the next one, and the next one, and the next one. The second way to grow is obviously through the investor, and you'd have to tell the same story as well. So the mistake that many entrepreneurs make is they don't document this early enough. So then they're in a rush and they need cash, or they're investors at the door, and then they have to rush off and try and formulate that story in some beautiful document that they get a third party who doesn't understand your business to put together. So start documenting that story now. Get your averages. Be able to answer the break-even points, the GP percentages, the cost of training, etc. And one last thing, I'm against the roasting. Because I think the roasting right now, where you are, the roasting is a diversion and it's a different competency. To go now for you to be on a plane to Rwanda and Kenya, etc., when the other people who can do it right now, better than you, with more experience and have gone through a learning curve, you don't need to go through 2 learning curves at the same time. Once it's settled, you've got a sufficient volume, and 9 stores isn't sufficient volume, in my opinion. But once you get to maybe 30 or 50 or 100 stores, that might be the right point to have this conversation. Right now, it's going to divert you, it's going to defocus you, and you're going to be fighting 2 fights on 2 fronts, and that's just not good business.
I see.
So I hope that's given you food for thought.
Definitely.
And so maybe you'll be unsigning some of those contracts. And good luck, and it's just great to meet such a great entrepreneur.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, that's it for today's show. Do remember, if you think it, write it down and make it a reality.
The Big Small Business Show is proudly brought to you by SAICA. Choose a difference maker, choose a chartered accountant.
The Big Small Business Show, proudly sponsored by MTN Business.